So, Splitgate 2 is a game that exists. That's about as much as I know about it. Played Splitgate 1. A lot of people played Splitgate 1. It was really popular for a while. And then it just kind of stopped being popular because everyone realized that there wasn't much depth in the game, to be honest. It was, you open the portal, like it's Halo but with portals, and that doesn't get you very far, admittedly. Um, 2 came out, and no one fucking played it. So we're going to see why no one plays Splitgate 2.
So what up, friendos? It's 2025, and it can be hard for video games to stand out. We are truly living in an unprecedented time of video game saturation. There are more games than ever.
That is quite loud, admittedly.
There are more games that are coming out every single day. The indie game market
There's games every day, and somehow all of them are shit.
is flourishing with gems dropping.
To be fair, there's some decent ones coming out soon. BL4, I don't know if that'll be good or not, but it will play it. Masquerade Bloodlines 2, I imagine will be quite fucking hope it's going to be good. The Outer Worlds 2, which going off of Outer Worlds 1, it's going to be just a very 7 out of 10 experience. Resident Evil 9 is coming out somewhat soon. Like, there's stuff coming out, but yeah, most of the shit that comes out is worthless.
Seemingly out of nowhere. AA Studios you've never heard of are releasing Game of the Year quality.
Oh, that game was so good.
And love it or hate it, the AAA, or as Ubisoft calls it, the quadruple A industry, releases...
Yes, it was a quadruple A game. It was amazing. It was so good, no one played it.
Bigger games at a frequency that is simply impossible to keep up with. So, with this being the case, how could a small company break through the noise? How could they get themselves center stage in the social media
discussion? It's that simple.
And carve out a market for themselves, seemingly out of nowhere? The simple answer is just make a good game.
Yeah,
right?
yep,
Make a game.
Yep, it really is that easy.
The game will then market itself.
Vampire Survivors. How many hours do I have in that? Hold on, let me see. Vampire. I haven't played it in a while. Yeah, 231 hours. Ooh. Ooh.
We see this almost weekly. New game releases on Steam, people play it, word spreads, big YouTuber picks it up, some streamers play it, and before you know it, millions of copies sold, viral success. All you need at the start is a great game.
And as well, usually with indies, they like updating the game a lot. So I did see some people complaining that when Vampire Survivors came out, it was... How much was it? It was like $3, I think. And now it's $5, apparently. And people were complaining about that. I think that's stupid to complain about because the game has so much more content now than when it came out. That, like, oh no, you have to pay an extra $2 for, like, twice as much content than on launch. Like, calm down, bro. Vampire Survivors and all this DLC put together is like $20, and you will get more enjoyment out of that than almost any AAA game. And a AAA game is like $60 to $120, depends on the game.
If you're the CEO of 1047 Games, you could instead go a different route. You could pay about $500,000 to get on stage at the Summer Games Fest, look directly into the camera, start squeezing, and shit your pants while maintaining eye contact with the entire audience. 1047 Games took the beginnings of a potential success story of a plucky underdog game studio with the reception of their game Splitgate in the Titan-dominated genre of FPS. And they decided...
How long was Splitgate popular for again? I think I played it for about a week, maybe 2 weeks, before I got bored of it. Like, it just wasn't that entertaining. It was one of those things, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool, for about 5 minutes, and then you just gave up.
Success of the sequel,
there really wasn't much to
their reputation as quickly as possible, basically speedrunning their game into irrelevance and securing themselves a spot in the video game industry. Fuck around and find out Hall of Fame. But how did we get here? 1047 Games started as a university project by Nicholas and Ian.
Oh no, it's working.
All right, we're good. In this video, the pair shared a love of FPS games and decided that they were going to make FPS games great again. Using an initial inspiration of the Portal games, they put together a beta that incorporated the Portal mechanic into the first-person shooter genre and released it to the public. Immediately, they saw success, with over 500,000 downloads, indicating they were onto something that could be much bigger than...
Well, also, it was a free game. That is another thing. Obviously, a free game of semi-decent quality is going to have a lot of downloads.
Just a simple university passion project. On May 24th, 2019, the game was officially released as an early access title on Steam, attracting a modest but respectable
67,000 all-time peak.
initial wave of almost 12,000
What the fuck happened here? I'm guessing this is when it got super popular for about a week.
concurrent players. The reviews were mostly positive, people were enjoying the game, and the complaints seemed relatively easy to fix. For these reasons, investors had confidence in 1047's vision, and the studio managed to raise a reported $10 million across the next 2 years. This cash injection allowed for 1047 to scale up their operation, but, of course, within those 2 years of development, the game had dropped to a relatively tiny population. Fortunately, the game then exploded with an update release in July of 2021.
I don't remember why. What happened?
From a max daily population of under
Besides
1,000
COVID.
on Steam to a new peak of 67,000.
Because if I remember correctly, this was a COVID game.
Completely out of nowhere. This game was an overnight success. It was all over social media. The biggest FPS content creators and streamers were playing the game. People were truly hyped for what they found to be a fun, refreshing, and exciting experience. This, of course, didn't last long. The population halved the next month to 34k and was down to under 10k the month later.
So it was
and
2
just
months
continued to
instead
slip
of
from there
2 weeks,
until
like
the
I
game
thought.
eventually
Okay.
settled back where it was in the beginning, under 1,000 concurrent players in January of 2023. So despite this initial success, why did the game overall fail over time, especially when this game was designed to be?
From what I remember, it was, again, they got really repetitive really quickly, and they didn't update the gameplay that much. That could just be me misremembering it. I am willing to give the benefit of the doubt and say I'm just remembering it incorrectly. But they didn't add much in terms of like gameplay updates. I remember there being a bunch of skins, but there wasn't much in terms of like actual like new guns and balancing and shit. It was literally just shoot portal to enemy side, pull out rocket launcher, shoot the floor. That was it. That was the whole
like
game.
The Call of Duties, like the Halo, something that people play for years and years to come. Well, basically, there's no real smoking gun. It isn't like they did something crazy, at least not yet. From my own observations and looking through reviews as well as playing the game, it was just kind of a flash in the pan. It was a game that the developers didn't expect it to be as successful as it was. They wasn't prepared, and the game simply didn't have enough stuff in it to maintain that level of
just
interest.
not enough content.
They didn't have the server infrastructure to support the player base, which caused issues with matchmaking, lag, and queues.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember something about matchmaking. But also, fucking every game on the planet has matchmaking issues, so that doesn't really make it stand out too much.
And then after
in
they
that
settled
regard.
down, they struggled to keep up with the required content for a game that was live service. Then they filled up the game with bots without telling people that they were bots, making the game feel like a cheap experience when they discovered it. And most importantly, the game just wasn't that great. You know, it was relying heavily on a gimmick that once wore thin, revealed that the game underneath didn't have the legs to carry it further. That same gimmick also resulted in casual players being forced out of the game very quickly, never to return. You can think of this basically like Fortnite building mode.
Oh my god, yes! Fortnite building mode is so ass. It's so shit. Only the super sweats play it, so if you're new, you just cannot get into it. Now, if you're doing no builds, obviously there's still super sweats in no builds. Like, there's going to be super sweats in every game mode. But, like, at least no build, you actually have a chance. If you don't know how to build well, and, like, you're basically not constantly, like, remembering or, like, refreshing, like, building techniques in your mind, you're going to get fucked. Which is why no builds was such a good idea, because it just fixed that problem. It basically nerfed the super sweats a lot.
Battle Royale originally. At the start of the game, at the start of Fortnite, the building...
It was great because no one fucking knew how to build.
This fun little thing you did to give yourself a bit of cover in the middle of a fight, you know, revive your teammate, build a bridge, whatever it's
Yeah,
gonna be.
this was as complex as building got in like Season 0, Season 1, Season 2 to a degree.
But after 6 months, the turbo sweats had taken over, the people who were playing very seriously every day, practicing how to build, and then they could throw
Like,
together
brother, what the fuck is this?
Eiffel Tower mid-fight in 0.6 seconds, and if you couldn't do that, you were just a bot
were at
for
a
them to
disadvantage.
farm. The
Yeah.
skill ceiling moved drastically by this one gimmicky mechanic that didn't translate over into other games, and it wasn't something that common sense made you better at.
Yeah, as well, as he said, it's not in other games. It's not like It's not like how if you're good at like Call of Duty, you will like aiming wise, you'll probably be good at Battlefields, like because it transitions over. Building in Fortnite will only benefit you in building in Fortnite. So you have to play Fortnite to get better at building.
Playing a different FPS or whatever it was going to be, a different battle royale game. This was
The
a
OG
specific
pump.
mechanic to the game that had an incredibly high skill ceiling, and that was basically Portals in Splitgate. It was the killer of the casual player. Despite the game falling off incredibly quickly, 1047 decided that the logical course was to make a sequel, Splitgate 2.
The thing is though with Splitgate, they couldn't have done what Fortnite did. They can't have a Splitgate no Portals mode because then it would be even worse. Even more people would realize, wow, there really is not much to this game. Like there really is nothing here. If you took Portals out, at least with Fortnite, when you take building out, you realize, oh, this game actually has decent, not amazing, but decent movement and decent gunplay. I would say now it's actually quite good movement-wise and quite good gunplay-wise. Although I haven't played the new season too much. Usually I play every new season, but I haven't played this one too much.
And this is fair enough, right? I mean, they probably made...
I played, I think, 3 matches and I stopped.
With the first game, they had investors, they had people interested, they knew they could get a player base. They just needed to refine what they had. Better game mechanics, more focus on not the portals, have the portals there, maybe make them a little bit more restrictive, do something more with the base game, and just add on more content that focuses on casually approachable gamers. They could capture a large audience with this because this was lessons they could learn. After all, they had the social cachet, they had fond memories from big content creators, and they had millions of downloads of the first game.
Yeah, there would be a lot of people who would be like, oh, Splitgate 2? I remember Splitgate. Let's check this out. I do. Yeah, you would have a lot of them.
Really anything stopping them, except for this guy.
Hey guys, I'm Ian Prue, the co-founder of 1047 Games. And I'm tired of playing the same Call of Duty every year. And I wish we could have Titanfall 3. Split.
Wow, what a brave take. You wish you could have Titanfall 3. Well, goddamn, bro. Holy, he's one of us! Yeah, no shit, we wish we had Titanfall 3. Thanks for reminding me it doesn't exist, asshole.
Gate Battle Royale launches free right now, and it's fucking awesome.
You're trying too hard.
Ian, the CEO of 1047,
you're really trying
really
too hard.
Fucked up the game's reputation quicker if he'd actually made it his goal to try. The Summer Game Fest is one of the largest platforms to show your game to the world, with a 1-minute trailer costing $250,000.
Oh! I knew they were expensive. I didn't know it was that expensive. I'll turn on my mic a little bit. What is that per minute though, or is like so if it was 2 minutes it'd be 500,000, or is it like you're paying for like an amount of time, like you're not paying per minute per se? So maybe they'd make you save money, like if you do 2 minutes it's only 400,000 instead.
Ian was on the stage for 2.5
Holy.
minutes, which according to the 2024 pricing, which could be lower, although I'd guess it would be higher.
Yeah, it's not exactly that cost per minute.
Is around $550,000, over $500,000. Ian,
he spent $500,000 to sit there and say, I wish we had Titanfall 3. Brother, you could have done a Twitter post for like $0. If you have to pay for premium, I guess it's like $13 a month. Or whatever it is. And say you want Titanfall 3. You spent $500,000 to say you want... Fuck
used
me, man.
1 minute of this presentation standing there in a Make FPS Games Great Again hat.
Okay, it was only $250,000 then. Okay, that's fine.
Holding a cartoon baseball bat, talking shit
It
about
looks like Octane's baseball
the
bat.
most beloved games in the FPS genre. Which
I see that and I just think of
is
Apex
certainly
Legends.
a tactic. I suppose if you've got nothing going for yourself as a selling point, trying to diminish what people would objectively call your betters, the more successful products than yours.
Okay, well, I don't know if I'd call Call of Duty better.
Definitely one way to go about
that is
things.
pushing it, I think.
The next minute and a half of the presentation is announcing Splitgate 2 as a battle royale, accompanied by an Imagine Dragons song.
Why? Why? When did this game come out? I'm not even gonna look it up. I don't give a shit. No, not every game needs a battle royale, brother.
Which is hilarious as a contrast when you're talking about we're not like your ex-girlfriend, you know, we're not like Call of Duty and Halo, we're better than they are.
And not like
by the
other
way, here's
girls.
a battle royale and
Imagine
the
Dragons.
most mainstream popular pop rock song you can possibly imagine. It was
Yeah.
essentially the worst PR damage you could do to your game in the shortest period of time, while also paying $500,000 to do it. The guy essentially paid $500,000 for people to laugh at him online. And if this was some kind of facilitation of a humiliation kink, it would make much more sense than what it is. But in Ian's words, this was the best
He
they
could
come
have given $500,000 to like Asmongold or Tectone or like any streamer, and they would have done so much better of a job than whatever the fuck that was.
up with to try and make themselves stand out from the crowd. Which, congratulations, you certainly did that. Just
Well, yeah, no,
probably
he
not
stood
in the
out.
way you intended.
in a good
It
way.
is really freaking hard as an independent studio to break through the noise. You know, you go to these award shows. We saw
It really isn't. It really isn't. Make a good game. It's not that like deep. It's difficult, but it's not complicated. Make a good game. And if you want to push it even more, maybe send free codes to streamers so they can play it. And that's literally all you need to do.
TGAs. We had this great trailer, and there's 50 other great trailers, and didn't really have an impact. And so, at our biggest stage, coming out of beta, we needed something to grab attention. And the honest truth is, we tried to think of something, and this is what we came up with.
At this point, it
How long did you think for? 30 seconds? Like what? Oh my god.
would be very easily solved with an apology. It would solve most of the PR issues. But if that happened, this video would not exist. This could have been an easy fix, something along the lines of, my bad guys, I have a lot of respect for Halo, Call of Duty, and the other games that I shit-talked. It was just a marketing tactic. They are titans in the industry. They've paved the way.
Well, I think everyone knows it's a marketing tactic. It's just not a good one.
We would be lucky to ever be mentioned in the same conversation as them. They're great developers working on this, and you know it was in poor taste. And the hat.
So
was
they
just a
made
meme,
Apex
and
Legends,
I
but with
fucked up.
Portals.
It is what it is. But
Okay.
instead, he didn't do that because at the same time, people were discovering the game also had a massive monetization problem. The game had gone live almost immediately, and in the store was an $80 microtransaction. Let's remember what the word micro means here.
Is this it? $80 for a skin, 4 guns, and a portal? Oh! You could buy the portal individually for $34 though. Oh,
A
Of course.
microtransaction worth $80 for some cosmetics. Obviously, this is not good, and Ian,
actually, hold on.
Work-
You're actually losing $45 if you don't buy this. You know, I'm just saying you should buy it. Because otherwise, yeah, you won't. These are released in season 1. I'm assuming these are going to be season 1 exclusives. Not only would you not have the season 1, like this is the Renegade Raider. You wouldn't want to miss out on Renegade Raider a second time, would you? You wouldn't do that.
$80 for some cosmetics.
Fuck
Obviously,
me, man.
this is not good, and Ian could again have just addressed this in an apology and said, "My bad, we'll fix it. It's now halved. Problem solved. No worries." But instead, he took to social media to record an off-the-cuff video.
Please tell me he went on social media and just called everyone poor. I beg you. I beg.
Blaming the $80 bundle and other monetization issues that the game has on an ex-developer who he specifically mentions came from Call of Duty.
And essentially what happened is our former head of monetization, who happened to come from Call of Duty,
A completely unnecessary detail that
Also, if he's your former, as in he's not there anymore, just revert the changes.
nobody cares
Okay.
about and never
Right.
needed to be mentioned except to fuel this sort of one-sided competition in his mind. I mean, at this point, he might as well just record videos of himself getting up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, shadow boxing an imaginary ghost of
That
Call
would
of
have been
Duty in
funny.
his bedroom, shouting about how
That
they're
probably would have
attacking
made the
him and
game
their
get more
industry is coming
downloads.
to get him. Call of Duty has nothing to do with this game. He hired somebody who worked on the game, allegedly. They made some decisions
trust
that
me,
he
bro.
should have been overseeing as the CEO of the company. And then he just throws him under the bus and says, oh, it was this guy's fault, and he worked on Call of Duty. As if he was, you know, sabotaging the game on Call of Duty's behalf or
He
something.
was.
He was an
an
embedded
inside job.
spy, a double agent, specifically to shut down Splitgate, the game that was never going to do any damage to Call of Duty because Call of Duty players play Call of Duty. They don't play other games.
No, Call of Duty players also play FIFA. And that is as far as they get. Their spiciness is Call of Duty. That's as far as they get.
Typically.
Sports
And
gamers,
just to be
you know.
fair, Ian did apologise for using the hat, which to me is the least interesting part of this. It's in poor taste, but not something I specifically
no
care
one gives a
about.
fuck.
It just looked like he was trying to meme. But obviously, when you combine it with everything else, it's just incredibly unprofessional. It's overall poor taste. And if he just did the hat, if none of this other stuff existed, you know, didn't shit talk his competition, didn't, you know, blame ex-employees that may or may not have worked at Call of Duty for doing things that ultimately he's responsible for as the CEO, I don't think the hat would have been a big deal on social media. I might be wrong. People love to, you know, talk shit about everything and drag people for, you know, any small reason.
Yeah, no, people love to blow things out of proportion. So
I think the
probably still
totality
wouldn't
of
gotten hate for
everything
it.
just made the guy seem like a bit of a clown and resulted in more social media flogging. That all being said, I'm not delusional, as far as I'm aware, maybe, I guess. But if Splitgate 2 launched and was an absolute banger of a video game,
No one
there
would
is
give
literally
a fuck.
nothing that I've said in this video or that has happened with the company, the CEO, that would change anything about the game's success, right? If this game was good enough, if it was truly the future of FPS games, if it was going to make the FPS genre great again, whatever the fuck that means, he could walk out on stage, having paid the 500 grand, with his whole ass on display, assless chaps, stand on stage for the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
That would have been better if he just walked on stage bare ass with Splitgate 2 tattooed on it. Or like at least painted on, maybe not tattooed. Do you understand how viral that would go? That would go so fucking crazy. Spending $500,000 to just go up there, rip your ass out on stage, and just say Splitgate 2, the next big FPS.
Making duck noises, and then open a sealed Call of Duty box and shit in it, and nobody would care because the game would be good enough.
What do you mean nobody would care? That'd be awesome. Everyone would love that.
People would just look past it. You know, if a product's good enough, nobody cares about the noise. It's only when the product isn't fun, the people don't like the thing, that they start focusing on stuff like this. There would be some people talking, there would be some people laughing, there would be some people bringing this up, but they were never going to play the game in the first place. It's basically only that the game isn't good enough.
Yeah, like South of Midnight. That game was more, or Concord, that's another example. More people watch the fucking not reaction, what are they called? Like IGN rating videos and actually played the game. Like this happens all the time.
Opportunity for this narrative to even exist. You could make a video about this and point
They
to it
talk
and say,
like they care
"This
about
guy
the game,
made
but then they'll
fail
never
with his
buy it."
actions." But in reality, he just, you know, helped a failing game to fail more with a bit more of a funny story about it. As it stands, though, with the product being what it is, you essentially have a CEO's actions and a game's poor performance, and you can add one and one together here and say, this is his fault. And ultimately, he did make the game, so it definitely is. But the easy narrative is that this social media stuff made the game fail, which is certainly a more interesting story than just the game's not that great. Which is really weird when you look at what Splitgate 1 did. That game peaked at 67,000 players, with less money, less time, no...
Well, it was 2021. That was... Almost every game peaked at that time, so that doesn't really mean anything.
marketing. And then you look at Splitgate 2, paid, you know, millions of dollars in not only the Summer Games Fest trailer and presentation, but also some of the biggest content creators, streamers, whatever it's going to be on the planet were paid money to play this game, to
Were
talk
they?
about this game, to give
I
reviews
don't
of
remember
this game.
that.
They had a billboard in Times Square, the NASDAQ billboard show.
Who gives a fuck about billboards? The only billboard I've seen in the last, year is the fucking Kershaw one. And that one was just funny.
In the game.
Who gives a shit about this? If I see something on a billboard, I'm actually just going to assume it's shit.
Millions.
It's like if I see a YouTube ad for something, or a product, I immediately just assume it's dog shit.
And they managed to get 25,000 players concurrent. Not only that, but the game has died faster than the first one. So really, in making a sequel, they've killed the first game and any chances of that coming back.
So they didn't Overwatch
Probably
2.
killed the second game unless they have some kind of, like, miraculous recovery at some point. which I'm not going to rule out, but, you know, it seems unlikely, especially because they're still focusing on things that casual players, you know, use as a gimmick, have fun with for a week and then never play the game again. And to be honest, I don't think they have, you know, a crazy runway of money to continue doing this, because who's going to invest in a game now that's had 2 bites at the apple, has spent millions of dollars on marketing, and less than 2 months after release, they have less than 1,500 concurrent players on the game daily, at least on Steam. There will be more on consoles, but as a trend, you know, you can use trend data of population to see the game's probably not doing all too well in other places also. Not just that, but in an almost unprecedented and hilarious turn of events, they're pulling what I like to call an Amazon Game Studios, and they've essentially unreleased the game, going from
What?
Splitgate 2 is now here to Splitgate 2 is kind of here, but now we're calling it a beta instead, while at the same time shutting down official servers for the first game.
I'm gonna check that. Is it on Steam? I'm not gonna open Steam Store just in the middle of the stream. That's dangerous. Splitgate 2. Okay, so the game isn't beta, but I can buy the Ultimate Founders Pack for $60. Cool and good. Game is fun. Many trick. Nothing. Doesn't feel right. Splitgate 1 was the most innovative FPS since Titanfall. Oh, okay. You put 2,000 hours in the split. That's fucking sad. Haven't found you yet, Judge Fud. Right, okay, I don't fucking know what's going on there, but...
Now, obviously, only time will tell if this game can pull out of the nosedive. It hasn't helped.
This came out 1 month ago. It doesn't look like
the
it
CEO
has.
has seemingly gone out of his way to give the game terrible PR and to make the game audience...
Some CEOs just should not be allowed to speak. They should just be, like, put in a cage. This CEO, Randy Pitchford, I would say The Last of Us main guy, but I don't think he's done anything recently. So they've locked him up. Who else? There's another CEO that's like notoriously stupid and doesn't shut up. I can't remember who it is though. It'll come to me.
You know, the wider audience think that he's an unprofessional clown who can only market his game by tearing down his betters. But realistically, if they can make Splitgate 2 into something that people want to play, it will find an audience. Nobody cares about the noise at the end of the day if the product's good enough. I think focusing so much on a skill ceiling mechanic that is unique to the genre is a cool party trick, a few minutes in the sunshine, but overall it's going to be the death of the game if it isn't kept in check. For as much hate as modern FPS titans like Halo and Call of Duty receive, they focus on fundamentals that translate across the shooter genre for decades, and that's, you know,
like microtransactions. It's in everything.
And the differences to what they're doing, but they rely on mostly common sense mechanics. It's part of what makes
sliding, vaulting, obviously shooting, stuff like that. Yeah, and usually if they have abilities, it's pretty generic abilities like a wall or a revive or like a cluster nade or some shit.
Them as popular as they are, because casuals can pick them up, play, have fun, and then move on to the next one, and it's mostly the same game with a different bit of flavor and flair. Advanced mechanics can work in games when it can maintain its own player base, but Splitgate has 6 years of evidence that theirs can't, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is their last financial opportunity.
Obviously, what they need to do, they need to make Splitgate 3. That'll solve all the issues.
Right. After all, people aren't going to keep throwing good money after bad, and I can't imagine the game's making a ton of money to support an active development team that's trying to fix the game. Either way, thanks for watching. Check the links down below if you want to support me, suggest video content, anything you want my opinion on, a deep dive on game.
Sponsored by GamerSupps. Yo! Oh, he's on Twitch too. Patreon. Yep. I didn't even know Splitgate 2 came out. I thought they were still working on it. interesting. So, moral of the story: put your fucking CEO in a cage and just do not let him speak on social media, and then all your problems will be resolved.